Well, hello everyone. I'm Andrew McKee back again with another Monday evening of Fair Life. And yes, for those of you that were, um, for those of you that were following last week, I had a weekend of fair at the Sherwood Forest Fair this past weekend. So I'm mostly awake. I probably sound a little hoarse, maybe just a little. I always give 110% at the fair, so towards the end of the day on Sunday, my voice was starting to go. I pushed through it, and yes, today, woo, it's definitely always a thing. But I'll probably. Oh, I don't sound a bit like a horse. Thank you, Susan. That's really nice. That's really nice of you. No, I have sounded worse before, so this is not that bad. I'll probably be fine by tomorrow. But yeah, it's just yeah. I don't know what that means. Damaris Stephanie change color. But okay. Uh, but yeah, it was a great weekend. I had a lot of fun. Tons of fun, really. It got to see a lot of old friends and always make some new ones. And every year there's a little bit of change at a fair. You know, you get some people that leave and because life intervenes, they need to move on, have a day job or whatever. And then you get new cast and new performers who come in. So it's never boring. There's always a little bit different each year. So that is always a nice thing. So hello everyone. Jan, Susan, Janine, Kurt, Sarit, Susan. Yeah, I said Susan already. Kathy, Damaris, Tim, um, and Katsarita. So hello, great to see you. Whew. But yeah, I don't know how long the show is going to be tonight because, like I said, I'm mostly conscious, but it has been a um. Oh gosh. Um, Got it. A short circuit reference. That's how tired I am, Damaris, because I did not get the short circuit reference. For those of you that don't know, Short Circuit was a funny movie from the 80s, starring a robot that comes alive. I know, not a very uncommon trope of robots coming alive for a while there, but yes, cute film, and I should have got that. Wow, I am tired. But we'll see how long the show is because I am, uh, normally on Mondays after fair, I am a zombie. It's kind of been my MO since I first started doing fairs. It's always tough when people they do a weekend affair and then they have that day job on Monday morning. They've got to go to work at 7:15 a.m. kind of thing, and I feel so bad for those people. Uh, I've always tried to keep Monday open and free for me so that I can kind of recover, and it's okay to push myself as hard as I can over the weekend just to kind of get through. It's always been a thing. And oh yeah, Kat said it did not age well, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, a lot of 80s movies didn't really age that well. I mean, you have to kind of put them in perspective, I think, just to kind of say, well, they just look at them as goofball concepts and go with it. I yeah. I think because I saw it when I was young, I can look at it now with a bit of nostalgia and get past the fact that it didn't age that well. So yeah. Oh wow. And I didn't know that did Short Circuit have some minor profanity? I don't even remember that. I guess yeah, I think it did. I think it did. Um oh right, there is that. Yeah, that definitely doesn't age well. But the problem with that is that it's um that yeah, it's so many films back then did that kind of thing. It's kind of tough not to just say that was the time it happened. I mean, yeah, it's not necessarily a good thing. I think the worst case I can think of that being probably Breakfast at Tiffany's. That was horrific, quite horrific. Um, but yes, that is a very good point. That is a very good point. Yeah, like you said, yeah, Monday is definitely the recovery day, and it is never easy. It is never easy. Hmm. Oh wow. Now, Janine, that's interesting. A short circuit remake. Hmm. I don't know. I The problem I think with that is that it's weird because I think people are a lot more uh, aware of what it takes to create AI. So you would need a very different story. It's almost be silly to try to do a remake because I think the story would be so different. The concept of, I mean, it's the classic trope of some natural disaster happens and somebody gets superpowers or a computer becomes self-aware. It happened in many movies in the 80s, and anybody who knows anything about electronics knows that's just not possible. Too many people have had computers all their lives now, and they realize that if lightning strikes, my computer's going to die. It's not going to suddenly become cognizant and alive. So I don't know. I don't know. I think you'd have to do it so different and just treat it like an AI thing where some coders worked especially hard and did something behind the scenes and created it unbeknownst to the people in charge of the project and created something special. And that's actually something that's been done in a few movies not that long ago. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if a remake of Short Circuit would be a good idea, honestly. Um, hmm, yeah, yeah. But anyway, but you're right. But yeah, you're right, Jenny. The robots were cute. Um, but yes, that's always a tough thing. And remakes are always a tough thing anyway, because a lot of times remakes are made just for the cash grab. They figure the name recognition will get people in the theater, and they'll at least make their money back in the first weekend or two, just because of name recognition. And the problem with that is I find that they often try to save money on, like a good script and all of that, and sometimes the acting, and it suffers because of it. I haven't found many remakes that were that good. It's kind of a shame. There are exceptions, sort of like uh, I think my notable exceptions are maybe Ocean's 11 and You've Got Mail. Those are the two that I think of that of being good remakes that that I think a lot of people didn't even know they were remakes because they weren't remaking cult classic films exactly. They were remaking notable films at their time, but that's it. So anyway, uh yeah, and Kurt, I agree with you. It's not such a great movie in the first place. Although, like I was saying, I think those are usually the best movies to remake because it has so many good places to go. I mean, you can do better. Where if you try to remake a cult classic, it's kind of like you think you're going to do better than that. I mean, wow. Um, well, yeah, The Fugitive, I get that, but that was sort of a remake. That was an adaptation from a TV show, not exactly a remake of a movie to a movie. But you're right. I mean, that was sort of a remake, but that's more of a movie adaptation, I think. Um, really, Total Recall was decent. Okay. I'm glad you liked it. I wasn't as impressed, honestly. I thought it was, for what it was, I guess, considering how bad a lot of remakes are, it wasn't bad. But yeah, it was different. It was different. I think they could have done a bit better. Um, but yeah. So anyway, oh, True Grit. Yes, that's an example. Yeah, that actually was pretty good. It's hard to compete with the classic that True Grit was, although the movie Rooster Cogburn kind of overshadowed it because it won the Oscars, where True Grit surprisingly didn't. I think the big problem was with the original was the actress who played the girl in there. So that was strange. But yeah, okay, and that's fair, cat. Sci-fi fluff that you want at the moment. Wow, we were really getting off topic here at the beginning, aren't we? Talking movies. I don't normally do that. Um, okay, I normally get off topic, but not usually with movies, I guess is my point. So anyway, yes, it was it was a good first weekend. I definitely I because of some microphone issues trying to get all of that together. I ended up having to use a headset microphone for both days, Saturday and Sunday. And just for the record, I hate headsets at Faire. I really do. I despise them. I mean, it's just they make such a big deal at several fairs about not even have leaving your tuner out for your guitar, or making sure that you are dressed for the part and don't hold your cell phone out, and all of that kind of thing. And a lot of the characters are, have headset mics on, sometimes for an entire show, whether they're cast or performers. And for me, it bugs me. It really, it's a big indicator of, you're plugged in, you're mic'd, I mean, I know, but they try to hide the speakers on stages and all of that. Yet, the microphones are still a challenge. And that was, that always bothers me. So I did it because I had to, but I went ahead and ordered a new mic to replace the other old one I had. And I'm going to attach that, like I used to, inside my hat, just underneath here, focused downwards. So it's pretty much completely hidden unless you're kind of down here looking up. So that works so much better. It's pretty much invisible. And the best part is, well, it's kind of like a lavalier mic where you put on your lapel and it just faces up, and this one just faces down. And the benefit is that with a recorder, me playing it like this, it's going to come down and get the sound a lot better than a lav would. So, a lav on your lapel. So yeah, I really like it. And yes, you're right. That's kind of where I got the idea from a stage, because stage actors, that's a trick they've used for a while. But you don't really see it outside of that, and I didn't understand why. Yeah. Okay. So Sarit, you like that you can hear performances better with microphones and speakers. I have a mixed view about that. I've always believed that if you design a building and a stage and everything correctly, you can set it up where you don't need that. I mean, you can design it that way. It just takes time, engineering, and money. And that's the problem. The places don't want to do that. I mean, not every location. Certainly some pubs would have a problem with that. But no, I mean, I really think that that it could be done. But I get it. It's never easy. Smaller stages, where you don't have seating for 200 people, I honestly think they don't have an excuse. I mean, it would be pretty easy to build a stage to project out to 30, 40 people. You could do it. But I mean, that's always the issue. I mean, trying to design it and get it, and usually the goal of a stage is just how quickly can we get it up and how cheaply can we make it happen. There's always a time issue and a money issue. So that's sort of, I think, why that came about. And, hey, my other gripe with speakers is that they tend to use it as sound amplification as opposed to sound reinforcement. It's not about making sure that all of you in the audience can hear them clearly. It's about blowing it out so that people can hear you clearly 100 yards away, and it turns into a hawking tool for your show. And that I'm not a fan of, because that's actually disturbing the people around you, and interfering with other shows, and even causing some shops some issues. And I've never been a fan of that. So there are groups that really blast it really loud, and I'm definitely against that. Always have been. But trying to get the people in your audience to hear, yeah. Uh, yes. I love playing where the acoustics are great, and that is definitely a good way to do that. And yeah, Drew, there are. It's tough to find a fair now that doesn't have at least one example of that, and it seems to be either the entertainment directors, they are okay with it, or it's one of those where they tend to give the musicians themselves free reign of the sound system, maybe because it's theirs or because they just don't have anybody to manage the sound for them. So, and the musicians, they just crank it. And yeah, Kurt, I totally agree with you. I hate that too. um, Susan, that's good. Set Renaissance to 11. I like that. I like that. um, and oh, really? Okay. Yeah. So Pennsylvania's joust is too much about volume clarification. Now, honestly, sometimes that's the speakers they use. Some speakers, especially the cheaper speakers, are more about volume than they are about clarity. Clarity costs more, to be blunt. And the technology, especially in the last 10 plus years, has come a long way in getting really good quality speakers that, you can hear. You don't have to put them very loud, but you can still hear the audio very clearly in the audience. But it does cost more, and that's been an issue. So yes, yes. Yeah, I don't know if I want to make that a t-shirt, Set Renaissance to 11, because that's like, it almost comes across like I'm for it. And I'm not. Maybe it'd be a warning, don't set Renaissance to 11, and maybe make it a warning. Maybe do something like that. So maybe that's possible. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the mic. The mic should come in on Wednesday, and that should make my setup pretty much invisible again. So I should come in clear. Now, the beautiful thing is they got a really new sound system at the Three Stags Pub at Sherwood, where I play most of my shows, and it is a huge upgrade to what they had before. They pretty much those speakers I told you about that are great for clarity. I think they did a good job. I know Jan was there and heard it, so she can attest to how good they sounded. But I was very happy with them. Once they tweaked the sound to doing it right, you really have to have somebody out there listening and tweaking the sound to make it work well. And they did a good job. So I was very happy about that. Yes. uh, yes. Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah, that's another problem, that there's a tendency with some sound engineers and some musicians to really go crazy with bass, mainly because of modern music. And the thing is, bass wasn't a thing in old music. Not really. I mean, you just didn't have that level of bass, that pronounced oomph that shakes your body. It just wasn't a thing. So yeah, it becomes across as very artificial, and it dominates the whole sound spectrum. Bass takes a lot of power to create, and it tends to overwhelm the rest of the sound. So I'm not a huge fan, honestly. Yeah. And okay, yes, Jan, yeah, yeah. Once the volume was adjusted, and it wasn't just volume, it was levels, and I think the effects they put on there. They had a noise gate at one point, and that was causing some problems. But then once they fixed that, it worked out great. Yeah, that's why I took it that way, Susan, because of that. The joke is Renaissance to 11. It is a Spinal Tap joke. So I guess since we were talking about movies earlier, that's where everybody's mind is. I totally understand. So you get a pass on that. Okay, well let's. Oh gosh, it's already 7:20. Boy, we're just talking about movies and music for 20 straight minutes. That's so doesn't sound like me, does it? Oh well, I'll go with it. Oh, I did want to mention something that came up the other last week that I noticed. This was an interview with a game designer. So I guess we talked about movies and music. Might as well talk about gaming real quick. Uh, Sid Meier. For those of you that don't know who Sid Meier is, if you go with pretty much anybody's top 10 list of game designers of all time, he's probably on their list. He created many games in the 80s and 90s. Most notably, probably the Civilization series. He created Civilization, that game, and a lot of other games too. But anyway, he was doing an interview with BBC on the 30th anniversary of Civilization, and talked about the gaming industry, and it made me think about some of the stuff we talked about last week about ticket prices at Faire. So let me see. He said that He said if major companies continue to focus on monetization or other things that are not gameplay focused, they risk losing the audience. And that's kind of a big deal. He said, when we start to forget about making great games and start thinking about games as a vehicle or an opportunity for something else, that's when we stray a little bit further from the path. And that the financial model that supports how game companies make their money has changed dramatically in the past decade or so. That, you know, it kind of went on to say that game publishers have been relying on in-game purchases to really make their money, and also they're starting to look at NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which you may have heard about. It's a way to try to create an ownership platform for digital things, mostly pictures, which I don't know. Some people think is a great idea. Some people think is just totally ridiculous and fake, because digital is the easiest thing to copy, and creating ownership of it is something that just exists in the digital realm is almost laughable to some of us. And I'm kind of on the laughable side because it seems very optimistic. Let's put it that way. Anyway, he said that Sid Meier said that there are lots of other ways that people can spend their leisure time, and that he thinks that the way the internet works, once a shift starts to happen, then everybody runs to that side of the ship. And that's the danger, that if you alienate your audience, they're going to go somewhere else. There's way too many options out there. And oh yeah, I like that analogy, Tim. NFTs are this generation's Beanie Babies. Yeah, you might be right. That really rings true to me. But yeah, I thought about that, and then I thought about what we talked about last week with the ticket prices at Ren fairs. We used Texas Renaissance Festival as an example, but you know, you see it at several other fairs. And over the last 20 years, I've seen a few Ren fairs kind of just seemingly focus on the wrong thing. I mean, they'll focus on how to make money. You know, like to me, Ren fairs at its core started out as a way to celebrate an historical time period and learn about it, as well as to encourage artisans and crafters to create wares and sell them. And some fairs have done more about just bringing in people who are resellers. They'll just have a shop and they'll resell stuff from overseas and that have been mass produced, and with inflated pricing, because it's a Ren fair, so they feel they can get away with it. And I'm not crazy about that. I think it's dangerous, and a few fairs I've seen have it hasn't been good for them over the years. Some have folded, I think, at least partly because of it. Others are still around, but it is an issue. I can't say I'm really happy the way Sherwood has done things. I haven't really seen evidence of that with them as much. So that has been really good. I love that. But there have been a few fairs who have done that, and I think it's a good warning that, you know, you really risk alienating your audience, at least the core audience who loves that. I mean, you're catering to the one-time people who will come in, enjoy it, and then they're gone. And the people that like to go every week and spend their time there and have a season pass, you're starting to alienate them. And I think that's the worry. So anyway, just something that popped into my head and I thought might be kind of interesting for you too. So hopefully not too boring. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about, the fairs coming up this weekend. It's a pretty light weekend, actually. So we're kind of in that little node in the middle of fairs where there's just a few going on. So something interesting to check out. Let's see. We have in Florida still going on the Florida Renaissance Festival in Deerfield Beach, and the Bay Area Renaissance Festival in Dade City. So yeah, those are still going on this weekend. Then of course you have my fair, hey, that's going on still, starting its second weekend at the Sherwood Forest Fair in McDade, Texas, and then still going strong the Arizona Renaissance Festival in Apache Junction. So yeah, pretty cool. Some good fairs going on, something to check out. So take a look. But yeah, pretty small fair group this weekend. So something to look for. Okay. Um, I guess we still have a few minutes. I'm gonna do a quick 7 reasons because, um, yeah, I'm just gonna do the 7 reasons why uh, cast and performers, I guess, are really tired after the first weekend of a fair that when they after an off season. Because yeah, I'm pretty wiped, and especially so, I'll feel a lot better next Monday. I'll be a little more used to it. But yeah, I figured 7 reasons. I'm so tired this Monday, so it was on my mind, so it was an easy 7 reasons. Um, but yes, let's see. Uh, seven, number 7. Allergies suck. When you go outside and you've been inside for a long time, all of a sudden you get a touch. I think I got a touch of allergy issues, and that I might actually take some allergy meds next week just as preventative. But I don't think it was too bad for me. But if I don't leave it unchecked for several weeks, I think it'll start to catch up, and I'll get really stopped up. So got to be careful with that. Um, oh, Susan saying all the sass from Shakespeare. Actually, I don't think Shakespeare sassed me. He was very nice, and we said hello and everything. No sass at all. So no, nope, nope. It's very nice. Because yeah, he really good guy. Number 6. The weather was a little warm. I mean, I think that just played a little bit into it, but just a little on the warm side, and affected me just a little because we've been so used to some cold spells here that I think going out for the day just tired me out a little. But yeah, just a little, just a little. Number 5. Didn't get enough sleep Friday night. I told you about having a mic issue, and that was an issue. Around 10 p.m. On Friday night, I was about ready to crash and go to sleep. And I was just doing a final check on all my stuff, and I looked at my pack basket and said, "Okay, these are my microphones should be in my pouch right here." And I looked, they weren't there, and I started freaking out. I was kind of like, "What? I don't see any of my mics, nowhere." Um, so I started looking around. I looking in cases, looking in drawers, just everything. Spent 2 hours looking for my microphones. And my wireless setup. I couldn't find them anywhere. Boggled my mind. So finally, ended up going out, and I got a brainstorm and checked my car, and sure enough, in one of the compartments in there, I guess I'd put them in there at the end of the Louisiana Fair at the end of the year and left them. And that was, I guess, that's all I can think of because I don't know. They were just there. It was nuts. So by then, I mean, I got them set up, charging, and getting all that together, and then yeah, it was after 1 at that point. So I did not get much sleep. Um, I did look in my hat, Susan. Yes, I actually did because I used to. That's how I do it. You know, with the old setup, I had the mic in here, and then the transmitter is in my hat. So it's invisible and works great. I love it that way. But no, 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 did not. So okay, number 4. Went from recluse to being social. I mean, yeah, I mean, I get to hang out with you guys every Monday night, but other than that, I mean, I'm in my room working hard and in front of my computer, recording and doing things, and yeah, suddenly you get thrown out and you're surrounded by thousands of people for 12 plus hours for 2 straight days, and that if you're not used to it, it is a little overwhelming at first. So you get a little tired. I mean, I'm sort of a mix of uh, being social and enjoying that, and being sort of an introvert extrovert. So I do appreciate it, but that transition can get a little tiring. So um, very true, very true. So yes, I don't think it affected me too much, but once again, all these little things add up. So number 3, and you have to remember the new schedule because it's the first weekend, and I am nuts. I have 6 stage shows I do. So yeah, remembering all the times, and at the end of every show, I try to announce what the show times are, and I'm constantly trying to remember and think about that. And so it's a little more of a mental exercise that can be fatiguing. Number 2, you're out of practice. I mean, it's been a little while since you played some of these songs, and you actually have to, oh God, help us all, think while you play music. I mean, at the end of the fair season, you're just like saying, "Oh, you want this song? Okay," and you can just play it without even thinking. It's muscle memory, it's instinct. You don't even have to. It's just fun. You don't even have to worry about it. But on that first few days, yeah, you kind of have to think about a few of those songs. You're like, "Oh, I haven't played this song since last year. Okay, sure, I can do this," and it's a little rough. So yes, yes, that can be a little crazy. And then number one, not used to the grind, and that's just it. You've kind of been a veg, just yeah, just very sedentary. Working at I've been working on my computer and doing all that, and then all of a sudden I'm walking for several miles each day, up the hill and down the hill, carrying a pack basket and constantly on the go, and that'll tire you out. And it definitely did. I mean, I'll be used to it by next weekend, but that first weekend, even though I've been trying to exercise and keep up with it a little in the off season, it still hits you. So all of those things combined, I think, really kind of made me tired. Definitely, definitely. Yep, you're right. Exactly. Change from couch potato to roving performer. I actually did get exercise in the off season, trying to go on the treadmill and run some here and there, but it's still it's a little different. It is. I think that just helped me from sweating as much. That's really all. Yes, yes. Um, oh, right, right, Cat. That is true. And honestly, there's always going to be an off season. A little bit over Christmas time and sometimes in the summer, depending on what all you do. It's tough to fill up your entire year of fair. I'm trying to fill up more of it as I year to year, but it is. Oh my gosh, 12 miles every other day. Okay, well, then that shows you what I need to learn. I need to go on the Drew routine and get those 12 miles in every other day. 12 miles, really? I don't know if I want to do that. Can I just do like 6 each day? I mean, 12. That's a lot. Wow. Gosh, sometimes I'll get so involved in projects. I'll wake up, start recording and working on music, and then the next thing I know, it's like 8 p.m. and I realize I've got to actually eat. It can be rough. But yeah, yeah, we need to talk about how you're doing that, Drew. That sounds pretty good. Well, okay. Well, that's 7 reasons. So okay. Well, yeah. Thanks for hanging out and when I'm semi-conscious and everything. Always fun and always a pleasure. And I hope you had a good time. And always try to keep fair on the brain whenever you can, because while you don't always go to fair every weekend, never it's never too far from your thoughts. So take care, everyone. Have a good day, a good week, and as always, a fair life. Take care.